How much is my home worth? That's the number one question on every seller's mind. And of course it is. You need to know how much to list the home for, and more importantly, you need to know what will my proceeds be to put towards the next home or whatever I plan to do with that money. So let's talk about the top 3 factors that influence home value, and stick around, we'll talk about 3 factors that do not influence home value, though many sellers think they do. So let's get right into it. Well, how does a real estate agent help you understand what your home is worth? We're gonna do what's called a comparative market analysis. And I'm gonna explain to you the main 3 factors that we use in a comparative market analysis to determine how much your home is worth. So number 1 factor is location. Instinctually, we all know that location is the most important thing in real estate. A home in Hinsdale, if you took the exact same home and put it in Oswego, is going to be worth something different. Or a home right on the lake shore of Chicago, if you take that home and put it down in Joliet, that home is going to be worth something very different. Now, what influences location's importance in the home value? Well, school districts are a big one, access to transportation, access to things like waterways, a lake or river, access to shopping, dining, nightlife, the job market. These are all important factors that go into location. So you've got to figure out where your location is and then only look for comparable properties in determining that value near where yours is. So how close do we want to get? Definitely the same town, definitely the same school district. Try to get into that same neighborhood if we can, but if not, we'll try to stay around a mile. And we're going to look at homes in that area that are like yours, and then we're going to look at these next 2 factors to really hone in on what your value is. Number 2 is size. So size does matter when it comes to real estate. Everybody knows that within the same neighborhood or even the same block, you could have homes that vary widely in size. 1,000 square foot ranch with no basement versus a 100 square foot home with 2 stories and a finished basement. These homes are going to be worth something very different even though they're right down the street from each other. So that's the second most important factor. Once we've narrowed it down to homes in your area around the same size, then we look at condition. And this is a little bit more complicated. Condition can mean maintenance, it can mean age, it can mean level of updating. When we talk about maintenance, we might mean, is there a hole in the roof? Or is there a big stain on the carpet? These are things that probably need to be addressed before we list the home, unless you want the value to be lower. Then we talk about age. Well, what's the age of the home itself? Was the home built last year or was it built in 1950? Homes that vary that much in age are going to have a little bit of a difference in value. What about the age of all the different things in the home or on the home? Is the roof 5 years old or 30 years old? Is the furnace put in yesterday or put in 1975? So we've got to figure out these things to help understand value. Now, the last thing that's really important when it comes to condition is updating. And this is a big topic. Updating is really subjective, and this is where you need a real estate agent's eye to be able to tell you how much it adds. So we could be talking about updating from solid surface counters to granite counters. We could be talking about updating from vinyl flooring to hardwood flooring. But we have to figure out, is it in today's taste? Was it done with good quality materials? Was the job done well? An agent's going to be able to help you to identify how much the updates you did in certain areas of your home adds to the value of your home. Now let's talk about those 3 things that really don't impact home value at all, and I hope that I don't shatter your dreams, but let's get into it. Number 1 is how much you paid for it. Now, the good news is that over the last decade, home values in Chicagoland have gone pretty much nowhere but up. So if you bought your home in the last decade, there's a good chance it's worth more and maybe a lot more than what you paid for it. But there was a time in Illinois, in Chicagoland, and even around the country recently, where homes were selling for less than what people paid for them. And although that's a sad situation, sometimes that's reality. Now, the number 2 thing that doesn't impact home value is how much you paid for renovations or updates. Now, we already established updates, upgrades, they're important, but how much you spent really doesn't matter. For example, let's say you spent $50,000 to upgrade your kitchen, and you can get the same result as if you owned that company that did the updating, and maybe you only paid $25,000 for materials and you did all the labor yourself. Well, it's the same end result, the same value added to the home, but a very different cost. Now, the last thing that doesn't impact home value at all is what you want or need to get out of the house. Again, I'm not here to shoot down your dreams, but you might say, Chris, I want $100,000 out of my house because I've got to buy this other house and I need that $100,000 to put down. Well, if we determine that your home is worth enough where there's $100,000 in proceeds, that's awesome. We might determine that there's only $80,000 in proceeds, and in that case, you've got to wrestle with reality. Hey, I know that these things are complex. That's what a realtor is here for, to walk you through this process, to have objective eyes and help you understand what is your home worth today. If you've got questions, you want to know what your home is worth, reach out, be happy to talk to you.